Oh, my apologies. I don't know why that video ended, so now this is going to have a part 2. So I am sorry about that. I am still quite new to this idea of videotaping some sessions, so I hope to get better as I go along and have less struggle for my viewers. But in typical Zentangle form, we don't really want to worry about it. This is all about no stress. Just go with the flow. We follow the process of Zentangle. And you know, it is a wonderful lesson in that sometimes life is going to throw us some curveballs. Things are going to happen that we weren't planning on. And how do we deal with that? That's the important part. You keep going. I'm just going to close a door. Okay, so part of that going with the flow is the fact that since COVID, we have spouses working from home, which means that we could have 2 different video calls going on at the same time. And that is surely a challenge. Now I'm going to purposely come down lower on this printemps. I frequently like to break my border line. I think it just adds something to the look. That's just a personal choice for sure. Let's finish up some more of these printemps. Have some more. I want to just leave that one as the one that breaks the border. That one might break it just a little bit, but that's a little different. Okay, now certainly I could come up with some of these. We don't need it to be this, what seems to be a line straight across. We can definitely, you know, just let this grow as it makes you happy. Sometimes my students will say, well, how do I know when to stop? And there really is no good answer that I can give for that. You stop when you feel that your piece is done. And you're only going to know that by looking at it. I do encourage you to hold it out at arm's length. On this video, you really can't see me doing that, but you know, hold your piece out at arm's length and it will usually tell you what it wants or what it needs. Okay, so I do want this video to be on the shorter side, or at least this 2-part video at this point, but I've got an awful lot of empty space going on around here. So I want to fill it with something, or at least parts of it with something. So I think what I'm going to do is some fescue. Let's do something that's a little more airy. So fescue is just going to be a thin line with that teardrop on the top. And they're going to weave in and out of each other. And just help to fill up some of that space. Thinking about always follow the holly-ball fashion of doing your drawing with Zentangle. That's how we get things that hide behind holly-ball fashion, being that I could not cross over that ink line. I had to pick up my pen, we continue drawing in air, and we land on the other side. I'll do that again. I'm gonna come back, lift up my pen over here, continue it through to the other side. And there is no rhyme or reason right now for what I'm doing, for how many I'm adding. for what direction they're going, I could not tell you. I have no plan. I am just thinking about how they might grow. I'm winding up with an awful lot of them. These little fescue, they're just very whimsical and light. But you can see how they really are starting, how they really do help to fill in that background. So finally, I'm going to go back now and I'm going to emphasize my border. So here, I can't draw through that, so I'm going to come out on the other side of it. Doing that border now, I can see that I want to fill in a little bit more. Ink it in. Okay. Notice how we're always turning the tile. And if my border were a little uneven, now's the time when I can straighten it now that I'm with the ink if I want to. Or sometimes we just want to be okay with it not being perfectly even. That is a fine thing. Okay, so now let's do some shading. But before I do that, I think I'm just going to add a little extra something with my border. I'm going to come around on the outside and do some thin aura-ing that breaks and has some dots. I'm changing up the number of dots that I'm using, but for some reason I was just feeling like maybe a fancy kind of border would be nice. This is a true practice of Zentangle. As I said, I had no plan today other than to show you, to introduce to you my tangle called PAWZ. And I have just been making this up as we go. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of shading on this. So we know that we always want to add shading where something goes behind something else. So an easy place for me to start is with these stems, because I know that if I do this, then it's going to help the one in the front to pop forward. I'm going to also do the same thing with any of my printemps that did that. I didn't tuck that many under, but the ones that I did, I'm going to put that little bit of lead behind there also. Okay, so with PAWZ, I just want to give some dimension to these. So I'm going to put almost like a little comma-y shape at the top of the bigger pad, the one that looks the most like a cloud. Some people like to do all their lead first and then go back and blend. Other people like to do it one at a time. Oop, missed a little one there. So that's really just personal preference. Okay, well that helped those out. Now I realize that I did have that part that went behind, our little unexpected pause that went back there. And I also would like to do a little bit of the same on the smaller pads. Very, very little. Very, very little, because the pads are small, so I don't really have a lot of space to do anything, but see, just that little bit. I don't know if you can see it. Just that little tiny, it was almost more of like a dot that I'm now just blending in. Just that. The more you do, you also catch things that you missed when you were in that area. Never too late to give those areas a little bit of attention also. Oh, missed that one. Okay. I'm sorry, I just realized that I had that. And then just because there's so much white up in here, I think let's try this out. Just gonna add some shading up in there. Oh, I like that. I like how that just softened that area, and I'll just continue spreading it. Borrow a little, spread it down. Nice. Bring these down a little more. I'm also feeling that there probably should have been a little bit of, oh, I got it on that one, a little bit coming down the stem also. That there would have been something there. And these are coming out of the ground somewhere. So we'll give a little attention there too. Please remember when you're shading, there are suggestions for shading with Zentangle, but what you don't have to do is you don't have to follow a light source. So you should feel free just to add a little bit of shading wherever it makes you happy. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with this. So we always want to put our chop. Please don't forget to sign your pieces with your chop. And on the back, we can put the date. I believe today's the 10th. I also like to put the tangles that I used. So very excited to, for the first time on the back of a tile during a class, to write PAWZ. And then we also used fescue and printemps. There we go. So I hope that you liked my little tangle in honor of National Pet Day for my current pet Tucker, whose paws inspired me, and my pups who I've lost over time, Comet and Mozart. A very happy National Pet Day, and I would certainly love to see anything that you do with my new tangle PAWZ. See you next time. Bye-bye.